Hi, this is Ian from Hyperise, and welcome to our session today covering how to hyper-personalize your sales funnel with Hyperise and HubSpot. Let's jump in. So today, what we're going to cover in this session is, first of all, why should we use personalization in our outreach? What are the benefits for that? What are we going to get from doing this? And then we're going to look at how you can actually use these images, how you can use personalized images in a really purposeful way. We're going to look at some different examples and use cases and some of the results that they've achieved. Then we're going to show you practically how you can start creating your own personalized images today and start putting them in your HubSpot templates and campaigns. We'll also cover off how you can use it in other platforms, outreach such as LinkedIn, and also personalizing your landing pages. So let's dive in. First of all, why use personalization in your outreach? Now, obviously, as this event or webinar is focused around HubSpot, I thought it'd be interesting to look at some of HubSpot's own data on personalization. Now, one of the things HubSpot do really well is take big data and condense that into meaningful bite-sized reports. One of those being the State of Marketing Trends report they produce every year. The 2002 report pulled data from over 1,600 marketers, agencies across the globe, so fairly representative in terms of data size and results. And one of the interesting things that came back was that personalization in messaging was the number one tactic that email marketers were using to increase engagement. So, significant data pool there, and that's coming out as a number one tactic to use. Also, another report from HubSpot, this time looking at website personalization rather than email outreach personalization. And again, a similar size, or again, a similar output in terms of the results, more than a doubling of conversions when your landing pages include personalization on the call to action. Now, in this survey, that was over 300,000 landing pages or pages that were using personalization to determine this over a significant period of time. So again, very relevant to what we're talking about today, and obviously the results that it's delivering. And the reason why people are wanting to do this, improve engagement in their outreach on their landing pages, is because user engagement is getting harder and harder. The amount of messages we see on a daily basis is increasing all the time, and it's thousands and thousands. But of course, we all have the same amount of time in a day, and so that time per message is reduced, and so the amount of time that message has to grab the user's attention is getting smaller and smaller. So we have to work harder and harder to stand out from the wall of text and kind of the onslaught of messages that we're all receiving throughout every day. And that's really where images come in. Images are such a powerful way to communicate, to kind of to give your message across in a really easy to understand and consume way. The human brain processes images 60,000 times quicker than text. And so what that means is that when we use image to convey a message, it's way more effective. But also it means because the image is processed so quickly by the brain, when it includes something like personalization in the image, it triggers what's referred to as a pattern interrupt. Now that is just essentially a psychological behavior that just puts a brake on the brain's screaming out, hey, stop, pay more attention to this. And this is something a bit different. That personalization, that increased mind share just leads to more engagement and ultimately more people taking your call to action. And that's really kind of what Hyperise enables at its core, for you to personalize your images, your website, and even your videos. And so you're increasing engagement at each of these steps and creating true hyper-personalization through your funnel. And of course, that can be used in outboarding, outreach, newsletters, whatever kind of communication methods that you're kind of putting out there to your customer base or to your prospects. Each of those opportunities is an opportunity to increase your conversion rates. And that's really where Hyperise and HubSpot combined together creates an incredibly powerful tool overall for your outreach engagement. So let's look at some of the images, or kind of types of images you can create used in your outreach campaigns. Now, I think it's fair to say there's kind of two broad camps of users and use cases with Hyperise. And the first kind of broad camp is sales type people. So people reaching out contacting new prospects, trying to engage them in either booking a sales call or a demo or a strategy call or attending an event, something where there's going to be some sort of human interaction at the end of that call to action. When that is the case, then a really purposeful way of using a personalized image is to humanize it, and that means putting yourself in the image. So you're creating that human connection, building stronger relationships and trust to the people you're reaching out to. Obviously, as humans, we relate far more to another human in an image than, let's say, an inanimate object. And so in this case, like these, the first two we have here, James at the top from Staff Circle, and this is Ash down here from Hyperise. In both of these cases, they've recorded a GIF within the Hyperise platform directly using their webcam. And what they've done is they've used a real, a prop, physical prop. In this case, James is using a whiteboard, and Ash has got this laptop. In this case, we've got the dynamic screen or website screenshot of the prospect. So again, and actually logo in this case. And so what we're doing is using those real objects to kind of put personalization in them to kind of create this kind of pattern interrupt, doing it in a purposeful way. In this case, hey, I've just looked at your website, would love to chat, or having a message written on the whiteboard. So really going to get them to focus in on that message, but done, with a GIF. So you've got the movement drawing the eye in, the humanization, building this strong trust, and of course the personalization, triggering that pattern interrupt, to increase that mind share. Other ways you can do that, kind of these examples in the middle and the bottom here, is just overlaying personalization, additional layers on your image. And again, with the GIF in there and the humanization, like for example, this one in the middle here, where just connect to someone on LinkedIn, using a bit of humor in there as well, the visualization and the humanization, really kind of piling in the different kind of strategies in this image. And then we've got this one here on the right hand side. Now in this case, what we're using is an augmented reality marker like this, a little bit like a QR code if you like. But what that means is when we record a GIF and we're holding this, Hyperise can track this object and then replace that with your personalized image. So in this case, we have a ticket to an event. So really nice way to invite somebody to an event, have a ticket personalized to them, with you, the host or the speaker, inviting them, no better way to kind of build trust, and kind of stronger relationships it kind of earlier on in that funnel before you actually meet. So some great examples there. And let's look at kind of some of the other benefits. So when we're using a humanized image, we also kind of leverage other elements like the law of reciprocity, which is kind of this inbuilt human trait that if you do something nice for somebody, even a smile and a wave, just kind of putting a face to the name, then that kind of builds this kind of trust, and also this, they want to kind of repay that, and so they're feeling more compelled to respond after you've kind of had that sort of nice kind of moment of delight. And so again, what we're going to end up with is kind of responses like this, this cold outreach to Rebecca, a simple personalized image just with a physical whiteboard with her name and logo and the call to action on there, and her response is, love this, when can we chat? Now, we all know nobody really loves cold outreach, but what we've done is elevated her feel-good factor. She probably would have said yes anyway. She seems that sort of person that was interested potentially, but because of this personalized image, she's gone from like to love. And what that means is that when we spoke to Rebecca, she was way more receptive and open and engaged for what we had to talk about. Or we can use an image in a humanized way to kind of minimize friction and reduce the kind of the size of the ask. So for example, rather than saying, hey, let's have a sales call or a demo or a strategy call, let's say, let's have a chat and a coffee, much smaller ask, kind of removing a lot of the friction. Think about mentally, a business call of a demo or something like that is, half an hour more and quite heavy, and it is a bigger decision than a light-hearted chat and a coffee. You kind of mentally think it was a smaller thing, and so more likely to kind of accept that. And so then reinforcing all of that by visualizing that in your image, kind of saying, hey, let's have a chat and a coffee, and you're there with your coffee mug. So again, very much visualizing your call to action, humanizing it, and obviously it's all personalized as well. So kind of, really packing in the punch, as it were. And this is the sort of response we get, again, in this case from Edgar. And he writes, I never reply to these emails. This is the first one that worked. And I literally hear that or see that in my kind of responses or that I receive daily from people that have had that sort of experience, and almost that they're predisposed to not like cold outreach. So when they get something that kind of cuts through that distaste, they really feel that they need to mention it. And so, that kind of, again, showing that kind of, these are the sort of replies that you wouldn't normally get, without using this sort of personalized image strategy. And now that's kind of where part of that uplift is coming from in terms of, those additional moments of delight that you're generating. The other kind of benefit you tend to see is that kind of goodwill that you're creating from, the kind of what they feel from receiving this personalized image. If you haven't potentially targeted the right person in the organization, maybe too senior or too junior, often what you'll get is that goodwill means that they'll want to still help you, and they'll forward it on to the relevant person. And that's quite a powerful word of mouth referral that you're getting, which means, again, another bite of the cherry, something that wouldn't ordinarily happen, without you having to create this kind of moment of delight for them. And so, that can be quite powerful as well. And again, another kind of area of kind of results you're going to get that you would be missing out ordinarily if you weren't using this strategy. And generally, overall, what you're doing is just creating this moment of delight. As I say, people think it's cool and it's nice and they appreciate the effort, and like I say, it just makes you stand out from everybody else. And that's kind of really what we're trying to do in this noisy world where, everyone's vying for your prospect's attention. This is the way that you stand out from by doing that. But as I mentioned, there are kind of two camps of kind of users, if you like, of use cases of Hyperise. One of the ones we were just looking at there was kind of sales and humanization sort of kind of use cases. But another kind of camp is kind of the marketing sort of images, where you're more visualizing your call to action rather than humanizing it. And this is a kind of a really good example from one of our clients, G2. Now, what G2 do is they produce these quarterly reports showing who are the best software vendors by category. And so these are quite well recognized reports, especially in the software industry. But in this case, what G2 have done is they've mocked up those reports in Hyperise, and then they've personalized them to show the highest performer in that category to be the prospect they're reaching out to. And they're accompanying that image with this kind of call to action of, if you work with G2, you could become a category leader. And so they're kind of showcasing their services and how they can help you kind of rise up the ranks, and do it in a very visual way. And you can imagine if you were a software vendor and you received an email with, the G2 grid report, it showed you in the top spot, that would certainly grab your attention. In their case, it increased their reply rates from 15 to 48%, so tripled their outcome simply by having this visualization of what success is going to look like in the future if they take action, in a very compelling way. Another example here, again, another kind of image diagrammatically telling a story. In this case, this is another of our customers, Reply.io. And what they've done is they've targeted customers that they've seen using lots of different bits of software, and probably creating a little bit of a kind of headache in terms of making it all work nicely together. And then they're proposing the solution to that problem, which is their multi-channel solution that can replace all these individual components. And they've just changed one simple thing in this image, and that's the prospect's logo. So you can see the logo there being dynamically personalized to each prospect. And that really helped kind of tell the story of people that had this problem, and obviously the logo drawing kind of that, triggering that pattern interrupt and drawing their attention in. And that resulted in almost doubling of reply rates. In their case, their email call to action was to reply to the email. And you see it went from 11 to 21%. So quite an amazing uplift there. The other thing that Reply did is they didn't just look at the reply rate. That was kind of their North Star metric, if you like, the thing that they were most focused on. But they also were monitoring open rates and delivery rates. And what they found is over time, as they were using these personalized images and creating better engagement and the reply rate going up, that in turn also led to a better domain reputation. So their overall domain improved from a reputation standpoint, from an ESP, kind of, from an email service provider perspective, that domain looked kind of a better quality. And so what that meant is the delivery rate into the inbox improved. You can see in this case going up 10% from 86 to 96, And also then the open rate improved because they were getting better placement in the inbox, as I say, rather than end up in spam folders. So there really are these kind of additional benefits of you getting more people to engage with your messages. Hyperise can act like a pseudo email warm-up that's creating more engagement, and so improving your domain reputation. So again, a massive uplift overall for that. This is another example here of how to visualize the choice for somebody, maybe like a newsletter or a survey, something like that. Now, I want to kind of say, just caveat this result here, 14 times the kind of the uplift from the non-personalized image version. That is quite an outlier. Our customers tend to see a double or tripling of conversion rates, but this 14x, is probably one of the biggest uplifts I've ever seen, and an amazing result. In this case, this campaign, we did a pure blind A/B test, where the email text was exactly the same. The only difference was either just simple click links in one version, and personalized images, with the images kind of visualizing what the different elements were, growth of more customers, or more reducing the CAC, or kind of better engagement. And so we had these personalized images that visualized the different choices, and 14 times more people clicked one of these images rather than one of those links. And again, a very powerful way to get more feedback in this case, in kind of 14 times quicker than you would do ordinarily without those personalized images. This is probably one that you're familiar with if you've signed up or attended one of our own events, because we use this strategy ourselves to great effect. And that is essentially that we kind of create a personalized event GIF, so an image of a ticket that kind of that references your event, so visually tells a story of how this is an event, this is a ticket for that event, something that people will be familiar with. But in this case, personalizing it to the recipient, the person who's registered for your event. Now, what that does is, one, creates this moment of delight and this goodwill because they've just registered for your event, and then they get this really lovely personalized image. And then what we can do is say, hey, I would love it, Manjol, in this case, or Manoj, should I say, if you would share that with your audience, and you provide a simple sharing mechanism where they can share your personalized or their own personalized event GIF. Now, what that does in turn is give social endorsement, from the person who registered to your event to their audience. And what we found is that kind of, on average, about 10% of your audience will actually share their, this event GIF from that moment of delight. Now, 10%, you might be thinking, that doesn't sound that great, but actually, what we've seen from our own tests is that for each one of those shares, that in turn generates 5 or 6 new registrations to your event. And obviously, that's quite powerful. If you have a buddy or a friend and they just post their feed, say, hey, I'm attending this event, and you've got similar interests, and also your buddy is kind of recommending it, and you can see that that's quite powerful. And so that's why we can see this uplift of 5 or 6 per share. Obviously, if you've got 10% share on 5 or 6, that can lead to a 50 or 60% uplift in your registrants. What we see from the types of shares, a lot of that going off in kind of areas, kind of networks would like, for example, LinkedIn. Now, we also expanded that data set, and we brought in a load of our existing customers and looked at their events, some without the personalized GIFs, and then obviously some with the event GIFs. And again, what we saw was very similar to our own findings, was that the shares which were virtually none before, when we didn't have these event GIFs, shot up dramatically. In this case, we can see 11%, slightly better than our own results. That kind of increased share kind of had a couple of impacts. The first one we can see is the average number of registrants per event has gone up by about 60%. And again, obviously, that's directly correlated to the number of shares that we're kind of encouraging and kind of enabling to happen. But also using other personalized images throughout the sequence and the run-up to the event, some of them humanized and some of them kind of event ticket based. We're also able to increase the attendance, the overall engagement, the anticipation for the event is improved, and we get more people turning up on the day. So again, amazing if you're putting on events using these sort of event strategy GIFs, can have an amazing uplift. Again, here's another example of one as a reminder. The event's about to start. In this case, Neil Patel, using this one, increased his attendance by 22% with this strategy. Here's another example of a slightly different call to action, but in a really amazing way. If you have any sort of, if you've got a SaaS platform or any sort of solution that has, a dashboard or something like that, being able to show your product in a visual way and personalizing it rather than just describing what it does can be incredibly powerful. In this case, this is HubSpot, one of our clients, and what they want to do, their call to action in their campaigns was to sign up for a self-serve free trial. So what they were doing was kind of sending out and saying, hey, here's the benefits of our platform. If you have remote workers, then this is a convenient way to kind of manage them via the app, and you see a dashboard of all of their activity. So describing that and then visually showing that those two together are very powerful. And in this example, we can see this image is personalized to Tim Cook from Apple. So we're putting through dynamically the Apple logo into the dashboard. The first person listed in the dashboard is the prospect we're reaching out to, and even the app component of the product here, the map on there and the logo and the profile image, all personalized to the prospect. And what that did was had a massive impact. First of all, showing, visualizing the product, with the call to action to sign up for a self-serve free trial, but it's putting the product in their hands before they've even done that and seeing some of the value straight off. And that led to a massive impact, 3.5x uplift. Their click-through rate for people starting a trial went from 3 to 11%. So a massive uplift simply by embedding these product images in their outreach emails. But they went further than that. And what they did is they also personalized their landing pages. And in this case, you can see the header personalized, in this case to Tim from Apple. The call to action button is personalized. Of course, all of the product images on the page was personalized and all the subheaders. And that led to a doubling of conversions on the landing page. Amazing. And then if we look at that, what we see when we kind of create this hyper-personalization, where we're creating multiple steps of improvement, of optimization, of engagement using personalization, each of those steps, they're compounding to create an overall uplift. So in this example from HubSpot, we had a 3+X uplift on the first step, on the outreach, on the email. That means three more times the people were ending up on the second step, which was the landing page. And that landing page was also optimized using personalization. We doubled the conversions there. And so that's double the conversions times triple the conversion the first step. And we end up like a 7x uplift throughout the funnel. And what that means in real kind of numbers that matter is that for every 300 emails now that HubSpot send out, they get 7 signups to their platform, whereas before they only got 1. And that it really means difference of how viable their email channel can be in terms of bringing in new business. So really was a game changer. And of course that 2x uplift on HubSpot's landing page also very much mimics the kind of the survey we kind of looked at before from HubSpot, where they looked at over 300,000 landing pages and again saw a similar sort of uplift. So again, not an outlier from HubSpot, very much kind of in line with what we would expect from when we implement website personalization. So hopefully that's given you some ideas for thought of website and image personalization and the sorts of images you can use, whether you're going to humanize it or you're going to visualize your call to action, show success, all of those things, great ways to kind of using personalized images purposefully. So let's now look at how we create these images. So rather than just going through the deck here, let's jump into the actual platform. Now within Hyperise, we have a 14-day free trial, so you can jump straight in today without any commitment, no credit cards needed, and start building your own templates and using them in your outreach without any restrictions whatsoever. Now, when you first come into your account, your new account, and you go to images, you'll only see this first tile here, which is create a new image. You can see I've got a bunch of images I've already created in mine, of course. But when we click on this create new image, what we're going to be shown is a bunch of stock templates. You can see this gets over 153 templates as it stands today of different templates that we can use. Take them and modify them, completely change them or slightly change them, or just use them for inspiration. And what we can also do is filter down. So let's say, for example, I wanted to create a personalized image to promote my event. I could just choose the event tag, or indeed just type it in there if I wanted to, the keyword event. And what that's going to do is filter all the templates we have that are kind of relevant to an event. So we can see we've got some examples of different tickets here, or somebody at the front, in this case saying, are you ready to join us? And of course, we've got the capability to change all of these. So maybe what I'm going to do is going to choose this VIP event ticket. First of all, maybe I'm going to say, maybe it's not VIP, maybe it's just a standard ticket, for example. And again, what we can do is we've got this text here, so we can kind of move it or kind of reduce the size, if we want to, that sort of thing. So we've got complete control of the color, the font, the style, all of those sort of things, that are important to kind of create the sort of image that we're looking for. In this case, we've got the first name there. Maybe we want to change this layer, and rather than having just first name, maybe also put in the last name too. So we've kind of got a little bit of extra information in there. We've got an image layer here, and so we can, again, this has obviously got the Hyperise logo in here. We could simply just remove this, or we could replace that image, upload our own logo, for example, or let's just choose this one. So we're going complete control. And what we can see is as we're kind of editing this, we're building up these layers here on the right-hand side, and we can open up each one of these and kind of see the detail of that specific layer. And we've got all the layer controls here. So for example, if we wanted to have their profile image in here, we could just drag that in and maybe drop that there, and then kind of resize it, like that sort of style, even make it round if we wanted to. So again, lots of different ways to kind of control your image, adding in these personalized layers, like logo or profile image or textual elements, even website screenshots or maps, they're going to pull through dynamically and update. So let's just click save on this. We can also control other aspects, for example, this background. If we preview this now, what we'll see is that we've got this kind of GIF background. And again, the reason why we're doing that is that we want, when this image is shared, we want it to have some sort of movement in there, because that GIF is going to draw people's eye. And imagine if you're scrolling through your feed and your buddy shared this, now that animation is going to really help. But in this case, maybe you kind of don't want something, this is a bit of a Star Wars sort of background, maybe you want something different. You can go to the canvas settings and change the background. So that might be, again, a GIF that you've got that you want to upload, or again, we could use the stock images, and I can start filtering down. So I'm going to look for background images. And obviously you can see we've got to just get rid of my images, just look for the stock ones. And so we've got these various different images. Let's use this kind of lava lamp sort of one. And we'll use the canvas width, and we'll just set this back to 400. So we've kind of got our image now. We can make it public, and so now we're ready to start using this in our templates. We can add it into HubSpot, use it directly within Gmail or Outlook or LinkedIn, or or any of the hundreds of other integrations we have. But what we can also do is humanize this. So right now we've created this image template, which is showing, obviously in this case, kind of visualizing an event ticket. So again, we could use this once somebody's registered for our event and send them a thank you and show that. But we could also humanize this and use it as part of an invite process as well. So let's go over to our canvas settings and choose humanize image. And what we can see here, we've got our three kind of parts of the process. We've got our template we've just created, and again, we've got a guide here, kind of really detailing all of that in further details. We've got our GIF, our humanized GIF, which we've recorded and we've created using our augmented reality marker. And again, these are available here. We can download the portrait or landscape. It's just an A4 bit of paper you print off, and you just fold it up and sellotape it at the back. And again, the instructions of video covers all of that, how to do that. And then Hyperise smashes those together, and what we end up with is this kind of humanized, personalized GIF. In this case, you can see pulling through the personalized image template. What we can also do is scale this. If we wanted the ticket to be kind of really big, for example, we could really kind of go for it and scale it right up, and obviously scale it right back down to kind of even smaller than the QR, the marker there. So again, we can set it to be, I like to kind of have it the sort of size where I can just still about see my fingertips, and so it just kind of creates more of that illusion of something that you're kind of really holding on to there. So you see scaled slightly bigger than the actual card, and obviously because I'm taking it towards the camera, you still get a pretty good size there. And in terms of these humanized GIFs in the middle, like I mentioned before, you can record these directly using your webcam within the platform. You can set that to be square or portrait or landscape, and even the record length before it loops. Or if you've already recorded some before, then you'll have those all in your library. So you can simply just select any one of your markers. You might have one with a wave, one with a point, a square one format for maybe LinkedIn, and you can select those and use those with any number of your images. And once you're happy with the humanized GIF and the size, we can simply enable that, click done, save it, and now when we preview this, not only are we going to see obviously the personalized ticket, but we're now going to see it humanized as well. I think in this case we can see we've got it personalized based on this example data. So that's the basics. As you saw there, there's hundreds of templates, hundreds more stock images, so you can really get going without without much effort. But also obviously adding in your own media is going to help as well, and so again we make that super easy. But once you're satisfied and you've got your image and you're ready to start using that, then this is the next step. Is really simple to start adding that into, let's say, HubSpot. So what we're going to do is choose Get Image Code, click that, and it's going to give us the option to add the integration, which in this case we're going to choose HubSpot. Now we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of integrations here, so usually it's easier just to kind of filter the list. In this case, you can see a HubSpot. We've got two options here, one for the CRM and one for marketing. They're two different, slightly different kind of interpretations from a HubSpot perspective of how to add an image to a template, and so we have two different integrations depending on whereabouts you're adding it in HubSpot. You can add as many integrations as you want to each image, so there's no restrictions. You could have both HubSpot integrations on the image. That wouldn't be a problem. In this case, I'm just going to choose the CRM, and I'm going to, what we're going to do is see the image that just pop up in a second. Just taking a little bit to load. There we go. And I can simply copy this, and then we can add that into our HubSpot template. We can see here it's now putting through all of the properties for HubSpot in terms of like contact.first name, all those sort of things. And also, if we need a kind of reference, for every integration, we always have an integration guide, and that will kind of guide us through the process. But what I'm going to do now is actually jump into my own HubSpot account, and I'm going to go over to my templates within the CRM, just to show, obviously, because I added the CRM integration. And what I'm going to do is create a new template from scratch. We'll call this HR HubSpot demo, HS demo. And we're going to put hi. Let's just say hi first name in here. Hi first name. And imagine we've got some blurb here, whatever it may be, intro paragraph. And now here I want to add my image. So I'm just going to right click and choose paste. And what that's going to do is add the image that I've copied from my buffer and add it directly into the image. Now we can see here we've got the template that we created in Hyperise that we copied, and it's got all of the parameters in there for HubSpot that we need. So we can simply save that template, and we've got that there for whenever we need to use it. Now we can use that wherever we wish. So for example, I could be in Gmail, and let's send a quick email here. We choose Tim. And what we can see is when I'm in Gmail, I've already got the HubSpot integration here, and I've got all my templates. So I'm going to choose templates, and what we should see, let's just choose view all. We should see the one we just created a few seconds ago, HS demo. And what that's going to be, what that should show us, I don't know why I didn't say hi Tim there, but what we see, at least the image personalized, which is the bit that we were interested in there. In this case, we see Tim Byland, and we're pulling through his business, stickyleads.com. We can see that's the logo being pulled through. Let's just try that again. I'm going to choose one of my existing templates. So this is one that hopefully I don't get to use too much. Missed a Zoom call, so if I have a call booked with somebody, and we can see in this case, again, we're pulling through the personalized image. Tim learned how to use in Sticky Leads, and we've kind of got his logo pulled through. So that image is personalizing perfectly. So we can use it in HubSpot via Gmail, or use it in Gmail via HubSpot. We're using their templates. What we can also do is obviously use these templates within sequencers, or directly within contacts within our CRM. So let me just jump over to the CRM, and I'll just choose someone here. Maybe let's choose Paige, because I was looking at her earlier. She's on our website personalization for our next demo, so that'll tie in nicely. What I'm going to do is choose to email Paige. I'm going to create email, and again I can choose a template. and so let's just select the same one that we just created, and bam, here we can see hi page, and then what we should see is here we go, the personalized image dynamically created on the fly, again pulling through pages, logo, and name, etc. So very simple to use these templates. And again, of course, these templates can be used in sequences, or in campaigns in the marketing side, so at scale rather than the one-to-one here. What we can also do on the one-to-one basis is here, obviously in Gmail, where we're using the HubSpot templates. If I go back to compose here, again, let's just put in another, let's choose Tim again, why not? And again, we can kind of have a message here. We've also got the Hyperise button here. So as well as being able to add them in as a full template via HubSpot, we can also add the personalized images into our emails or in Gmail, or also in Outlook. We can select an image template. We can even make it clickable, choose where we want to send them to. In this case, a kind of a blog template, Academy. And then what that's going to do is embed that image directly into the email. And so as you can see here, we've now been able to add it directly into the email using the Chrome extension. That also works in LinkedIn as well. So for example, you can see here we've got the same short link button that we can add in these short links and personalized images directly into LinkedIn. In this case, you can see my message to Howard, giving him a trial invitation using a similar sort of ticket idea and pulling through his logo and name and business name. Also, while we're talking about the Chrome extension, that also enables us to personalize our landing pages. So going back to page, as we were just looking at before in HubSpot, here we can see a landing page that Paige would have seen after she'd received an email from us and clicked to go onto our site. So in this case, we can see that Paige worked for Invite Change. And so we're using her business name, her name in the button, her logo on this briefcase, and even kind of next to our logo. And as we scroll through the page, we're kind of seeing this mock-up of kind of examples of our product, again, all personalized dynamically to Paige. And this is another thing that our Chrome extension enables you to personalize your landing pages on your existing website. So let me just load this up again, the Chrome extension. This is the thing that's enabling us to add short links and images into Gmail, Outlook, and LinkedIn and Facebook. In this case, what I'm going to choose is to personalize this page. And what we can see when this loads is before, where we had Paige's business name, we can now see we've got parameters. And actually what we can do is I can click into any text element on the page, and when I do so, all of my personalization tags are going to become visible, so I could add them in. So for example, we could say first name, double business names, outreach engagement with personalized images. And again, you can see this is green and this is black. It's just using the HTML of that standard element that's being applied there. So again, this personalization is just taking all of the traits, design, style, font of your existing website and just kind of, again, adding in these personalized layers. Also here where we've chosen text, we can see all the personalization tags. If I choose an image on the page, what it's going to show me is all of my personalized image templates, or indeed, if I've created some personalized videos, you can see here when they load, I can also replace the image with a personalized video as well. So pretty much any element on the page we can control and replace with one of our personalized placeholders for text. We can just change the text to make it more sense if it's if we're in a segment, or we could add personalized tags, personalized images and videos. So really, really flexible. And like I said, that will work on any website. You simply add our JavaScript snippet to your site and then use this Chrome extension to define the personalization, and you're away creating these personalized experiences. So that's a very quick overview of Hyperise. We can personalize our images. We can obviously create these personalized images. We can use those in our LinkedIn outreach. We can use them in our email outreach, and we fully integrate with HubSpot, so we can pull all of your data from HubSpot into these personalized images and onto your landing pages. And that is really the key of what our platform enables. Dynamic logos, dynamic profile images, integration with thousands of different platforms. So whatever you're using, or if you're working with lots of clients, whatever they're using, we're going to have you covered for that. Of course, our Chrome extension is a thing that enables you to kind of spread that out from wherever you're kind of browsing or using, adding in these personalized experiences, on a kind of one-to-one basis, as well as doing at scale with one of our many integration partners. I really hope this has been a useful session for you. As I mentioned before, we do have a completely free 14-day free trial. Did I say free there? Also, as I mentioned before, we have a completely free 14-day trial. You can go to hyperise.com, click the free trial sign up button. You'll be in there, no credit card needed, no commitment, just pure free access to the full product. So for the images, the website personalization, and videos, so you really can kick the tires on all of the elements of the product. And we're also there for you from a support perspective. So once you've started your free trial within the product, we've got this little kind of support chat element, if you like, where you can chat to us, start a conversation with our support team. We also have our help center. It's got hundreds of integration articles and how-to articles, similar to the one we saw here, which are very kind of text and image based, so quite easy to follow. And you can also book further time one-to-ones with our support team just to delve into any of your kind of more complex questions. And of course, we also have our let's put out of this. We also have our academy within our resources, which has I think over 60 videos now in terms of how to kind of onboard, how to kind of use it in sales funnels and LinkedIn and automation and many other different strategies. Lots of different videos to explore and learn from there. So again, I hope this session has been useful. We're here to help. Look forward to speaking to you all soon. You take care. Cheers. Bye.